looking back, because tons of people either are buying businesses or selling, and you've done both. You've helped people do both. In selling the business, looking back, like, what would you have done differently, or how would you have prepared differently for that?
Yeah, it's a great question because people typically don't do this the right way, in my opinion. Most of the time, people they get an offer from off the street, and then they like, wow, it's a lot of money, I'm going to take it, and all the while you haven't prepared. I think it's a 1 to 2 year process to get. First of all, if you want to get the most out of that sale, right, for 1 to 2 years, you're making every decision based on valuation.
Yeah.
You're getting aligned with your attorneys, your CPAs, right? Any other advisors that you have, and making, perhaps doing some pre-diligence to make sure that you have everything you need, all of your ducks are in a row, you've got all the documentation, so that when you go through it, it's a lot smoother. So there's a lot from a structure standpoint. You may be thinking about it too, right? If you're the visionary and you want to exit, if you want to sell the business instead of selling yourself,
yeah,
you want to think about that, right? If you want to get out of there, so we talk about this in EOS about it, right? Having the processes and actually selling the business.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I look back at, I'm like, why didn't I do this? It would have saved me tens of thousands of dollars. Is I would have stopped the first thing I would have done is I would have stopped all communication. I said, I want every single person who's involved in this process in one meeting. And I want every person to go, what do you need? And who do you need it from?
Yeah.
Because I am telling you, the amount of crisscrossing and trying to connect people who need to get to it was an absolute. And these are people who they're bankers and brokers, SBA. They had no idea what they were doing.
Yep.
It was incredible. Everyone thought everyone else had a different job. I would have just, if I could go back, the first meeting would be like, I don't care. I'll pay my CPA. I'll pay my lawyer. I want everybody here for an hour, 2 hours. Everyone say what they need for the whole process, start to finish, and then be like, okay, email me when this is done. Email me when this is done. I would have saved 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah, I would have just started it. I would have started it sooner. I would have said, hey, we are absolutely selling in 2 years. Let's do everything to make it cleaner.
Yeah.
And maximize valuation.
I think that's good advice. And then you had said that you would help somebody buy a business.
Right.
I follow a couple of different podcasts, and they talk about it's like, no, I have heard like what they said was like 90% of the time, the thing that they bought is like not at all what they thought they bought. It's like either the sales were skewed on purpose or on accident, the cash or how loyal employees are, like all these things. So I'm curious on buying a business, how that went. What'd you learn on the other side?
I learned that going through diligence twice is definitely helpful, being on the buy side. And so this was a much smaller buy than our sell was. And I think we generally got what we thought we were getting. It was a company that had a pretty experienced staff, a lot of folks that are probably ready to retire. And so we weren't really buying the company to stand on its own.
Yeah.
Right. And we were kind of buying it to fold it up and eliminate some expenses, but gain some customers as well. So I think they're generally pretty good. I think the same thing that I learned on the sell side is the operational piece is so important, and there's just not enough time and thought put into how are we actually going to transition operations day 1 to day 365. And that's probably where, in that case, I would have done it differently. I would have had a much tighter plan on how we were going to do integration.
Yeah, I've learned a lot in this side. So my business partner actually wrote the book, How to Sell Your Business for Dummies. And he just owns Sunbelt Brokers. So it's like one of the biggest business brokerage, conglomerates. And this is the advice I got is, and the experience I got through buying a company, count all the inventory yourself. Because really, if you look at a balance sheet, there's only a few places to hide money. There's your cash, which is pretty simple. What's in your account? Your debt. How much actual debt do they have? Accounts receivable and inventory. Really outside of that, it operates very similarly to a P&L, equipment and stuff. Hire a consultant to value the inventory and equipment, because you don't know, especially if you're going into an inventory where you don't know what that's worth. Churn rate is important. How long have you had this inventory? Is it good or bad? I mean, there's a million different ways for you to hide that, but hire experts to value things that are on the balance sheet that are going to be involved. And the other thing too is my business partner always said, never, if you don't have to, never use the accounts receivable as a purchase. Let them keep that. Say, hey, you're responsible to collect that, because that just saves you. Yeah. I thought that was really good advice.